the final sale of SVB or Signature or some of these banks. Now in the UK, we have seen HSBC take over the SVB UK operations for £1. And why haven't we seen anyone buy SVB in the US?
Yeah. So this is actually one reason why. So Monday was a pretty big rout on banking stocks, and this is one reason I think why is so Friday comes and Silicon Valley Bank goes down, and if you recall on Wednesday, um, Silvergate went down. So two banks go down in 3 days, um, and so people are really scared. On Saturday, um, I hear stories, anecdotal stories, that people are outside of bank branches, trying to get their money out. Especially in California, near where SVB, was headquartered. Um, but so on Sunday, people are looking for an acquisition because if they're acquired, that brings some stability to the system. It's more likely that people will get paid. At that time, people still didn't know if uninsured depositors would get paid. So people were really hoping that they would get acquired so that uninsured clients would still get their money back. So we're looking for that headline. We're looking for, SVB acquired by X. Instead, we get the headline PNC not interested. That's a large regional bank in the UNC in the USA. So we get this headline, and then right after that, we get the headline Signature Bank goes down. So people are like, oh no. So that's, and then the other positive news came out about the uninsured. But I think there was a lot of negativity going into Monday. But in terms of why were they not actually acquired, and there have been talks that they've tried a second round to see if anybody's interested in acquiring them, and it hasn't happened. Um, Let's say a few reasons why they haven't been acquired. One reason is, like I said, they're lending to people that other banks don't necessarily want to lend to. They're banking to people that other banks don't necessarily want to bank to. So other safer, or not necessarily, yeah, other safer banks don't necessarily want to pick up this risky client base that they don't understand. There's some risk there, and with the mass deposit outflows, banks aren't necessarily confident that they're going to keep these customers in the long term. So, there's definitely concerns there. But a larger concern is this was a large bank that went down. This is the second largest bank that's ever gone down in the US, and Signature Bank was actually the third largest bank that ever went down in the US. So, yes, 2008 was obviously much worse, but from just a asset perspective, these two banks going down is somewhat similar to the total assets of all the banks that went down in 2008. It's actually pretty similar. So because of that, Silicon Valley Bank is the 16th largest bank in the United States. So, realistically, how many banks can actually buy them? And when you go through the list, almost all large regional banks couldn't acquire them because they just had acquisitions. They have just gone through large acquisitions. We're not talking about small acquisitions. We're talking about game-changing large acquisitions. So they don't necessarily want to have another acquisition that soon. And then at the top, there is concentration talk. So J.P. Morgan, largest bank in the U.S., maybe not a good look for concentration and fears of too big to fail if the largest bank in the U.S. Picks up one of these banks. And if you go through the list, other banks have they've just been getting in trouble, getting fines. So there's really only a couple of banks on the list, and like I said, a little bit risky clients. They're not totally sure about how the deposits are going to play out. They just weren't interested at the time. So you're right, though. People were expecting it, and it didn't happen. So that I think did cause a little bit of concern.